Hi there, welcome to today's painting tutorial. Today we are going to paint a magical seashell with acrylic paints. So let's get started. We're going to start by painting the background. I'm going to take a size 11 flat brush, grab the sketch in the description below, and I'm going to start off with some white paint and some Phalo medium and a little bit of Phalo Blue. I'm also going to link all the colors in the description below as well. And then carefully use your flat brush to go around the subject. Starting off with this Phalo Blue. And then you can also put something underneath your paper so that it doesn't get your surface dirty. I'm just going to start putting this Phalo Blue and white along the sky area, around the outside of the subject. Just moving that brush back and forth, and you want to use a pretty large brush for this. And then keep adding a little bit more Phalo Blue, so it can be a little bit darker at the top, and then get a little bit lighter as you go towards the bottom. Let's bring this blue over this way. Add a little bit more white so that we can get lighter. Then bring that blue down. That flow medium is just helping the paint to flow easier. Could also add a little bit of water to the brush. Just going around the edge here. And be a little bit more precise when you go around these corners. Just using the edge of that brush. Okay, and if you wanted to smooth the sky out, you can grab a fan brush, put a little bit of paint on it, and then just use that fan brush to really smooth out the paint and get a really nice smooth layer. If you go over the sketch a little bit, that's okay. Just want to try to smooth everything out. Okay, and then I'm going to take a filbert brush. I have a size 6. I'm going to take some white, and then if you can see where the sketch is, we had a little bit of clouds in the distance. Just take a little bit of white paint, sort of use a circular motion to add those clouds. Okay, I'm going to do this side, so I'm just circling above the top of that sketch. And then doing another layer. Then I'm just smoothing it out a little bit. Try to get more white on the brush. Just add little layers of those white clouds. Okay, so now let's switch. I'm going to take some of this white paint and a little bit of this teal. See if you can find where that horizon line is and transition into the teal. And see if you can make it even on both sides. Then take the teal paint and go around the outside of the shell along the bottom. Quite a bit of flow medium and some water. And that white is really going to help you get Just a little bit more of a natural color. Try to get the edges. Okay, just a nice teal. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this purple and then put that underneath the shell using the edge of the brush here. I just want to create a shadow with this purple. Then I'm just going to blend it a little bit around the edges. Might take my fan brush and use that to sort of blend that paint. Okay, and then you can take a 0 round brush and some white paint. I'm going to add a little more onto the palette. And I'm going to take this white paint. I'm just going to put, you can see I have a few little lines here on this sketch. So it's just going to create sort of the appearance of little waves in the water. It's an extra little detail. Okay, and you could even go back and add more detail to your clouds. Okay, and then I'm gonna take a little bit of the purple, mix with some blue, and I'm gonna put a shadow underneath the pearl here. Okay, so that's how you can do the background. So let that dry completely and then we'll come back and do the main subject. Now let's paint the main subject of the shell. I'm going to start with a size 11 flat brush. And I want to start by putting some white along this main area here. I have some slow drying medium in the white as well as some flow medium. It's going to help the paint stay wet longer and help us achieve this blending technique that we're looking for. Okay, so you have a layer of white and now it's time to add some color to that. I'm going to start with this light blue color. And let's put that along the white, just making little streaks here. And then pick up some purple and put the purple alongside that blue. You want it to look like rays of glowing light. And then pick up some pink. And then put that pink in along next to the purple. Okay, so now I want to feather in some brighter colors. I'm going to grab a 6 filbert. Let's pick up some of this yellow. I'm going to mix it in with the white. And then just put some really small streaks of that yellow in there. Really subtle. Okay, so now let's work down here. So I'm going to take some of this purple color and then bring that down along the base of the shell. I'm going to take some of this grayish color, this gray blue, and bring it down as a shadow, this part of the shell. Then a little bit on this side as well. Okay, and then I want a lighter color, so I'm going to take some of this white with some pink and some yellow. And then bring that over here. This is a nice base color for that inner part of the shell. Okay, and now let's work on the pearl. So I'm going to use that size 6 filbert. And let's actually also use the round brush, the 0 round. So I'm going to start with a peach color. I'm going to mix that by taking the yellow and the pink together. And then I'm going to go around this top area of the pearl. I'm going to try to go over that pencil lead. And then after that, I'm going to pick up some pink. Let's put the pink in next. And allow those colors to blend together. A little bit more pink. And then I'm going to pick up some purple. Bring that around this bottom area. And then bring the purple over here. Some of the pink. And then some of that peach around this edge. Okay, as we get towards the center, we want to go towards blue. Pick up some white and some blue. And I'm overlapping these colors. Let's pick up some more blue. And then there's a highlight right here, so I'm going to go around that highlight with the blue. There's another highlight right here. And then I'm going to fill that in with the blue. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of blending. Allow the colors to mix together. And then I'm going to pick up the white and put that white in the center. And then also put it right here. And then I'm going to put another little highlight with the white right underneath. Okay, and then I might lighten it up a little bit over here. And now let's do this area of the shell. So I'm going to take some darker color here. I'm going to use this burnt sienna. And I'm going to start coming around this edge along the top. And I'm also going to take some of this burnt umber and I'm going to outline these little corners of the shell. And then bring that around. Then I'm going to take some beige, fill in those corners, and then bring some beige around that edge. Okay, let's start building this area of the shell. So I'm going to take some of that dark color, that burnt umber, and go along the bottom. Then also use some of this burnt sienna to create the bottom shape. Then I'm going to take some of this bluish gray and just start putting that in as sort of a shadow. And then I can bring a little bit of that up around the top as well. Then we have these little shapes. And I'm going to use this to create these little waves in the shell. And then I want to fill that in with some color. I'm going to take some pink and start putting that pink in there. And then some purple. And I'm going to try not to muddy these colors too much. And then I could put in some yellow around the top. Okay, and sort of blend that together. And now let's do the top area of the shell. So I'm going to use some of this burnt umber. Have a little bit of water on my brush, and I'm using that 0 round. I'm just going to come around and sort of loosely put this burnt umber in. I don't want to go around the entire outline, so I'm kind of making brush strokes that are skipping a little bit. And then I'm going to take the burnt sienna and let's put that in. Just putting that in to connect the lines where the burnt umber left off, until you have the whole area outlined. And now I'm going to have a 0 liner brush, and let's see if we can get some beige and some white onto this brush. I can kind of roll it. And you could wait until the darker paint dries if you want to. The idea is to put just a little line along that darker edge, just to give a little bit of a 3-dimensional look. And you can do that along the bottom too. Okay, and then you can take some straight white and then start putting in some little highlights. So along the bottom of the shell, where the light is hitting it, you could put a little highlight. Might put a highlight back here. And maybe in this area, could put a highlight. And then along the top, just little places where the sun can be hitting the edge. Okay, and then you could add some highlights onto this area, just to make a final glowing appearance. And then let's put some here and over here. Okay. And if you wanted to, you could put some, could even go back and put some in the clouds as well. Okay. All right, and that is how you can paint a magical shell with acrylic paints. I hope you give this a try. Like and subscribe for more acrylic painting tutorials. If you want to dive deeper into acrylics, check out my full program in the description below, and we will see you in the next video. Bye!